Hello, hello. We just wanted to say thank you for joining us today. We are feeling many feelings right now. As you guys know, many of you do know that we have gone through a world of hurt in the last week. I'm going to kind of tell you guys our story of what happened with our little Layla.
Yeah.
She was 19 and a half months. And I'm just gonna, I guess the main thing is, I'm Shannon Nielson. This is my husband, Josh. Let's just tell them a little bit of ourselves before people get on, if you want to do that.
Okay. I'm way funny. That's how I got her. So if you're wondering why I got her, it's because of my sense of humor, not my looks. No, we've lived in Florida now for 3 years. We used to live in Utah, where a lot of our friends, we met at UVU. We were attending school up there, and got married and lived in Canada for several years. And then moved out here to Florida for work, and we came out here to be close to the beach. That was the main thing, right? Sunshine.
Our dream was to move close to the beach.
Oceans, yeah. So we love it. We have a great family. We have a great ward family here. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we have 5 beautiful children, and we've been so blessed. So yeah, that's us. I don't think there's, I don't know what else to say.
So we're kind of going through, as many of you know, when you kind of go through something tragic like this, you have your ups and your downs, and we've definitely gone to the bitter end of just sadness and not knowing why, and
our hearts have been broken. We're devastated. I've never, how can we have ever...
I just don't even know the words to explain.
Well, let's just back up a little bit. About a week ago, we were watching a movie, and it's called the Emma Smith movie. And it was called Emma, and it was a story about how Emma had experienced this life next to the prophet Joseph Smith. And in this story was, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching the movie. But they lose so many children. And it was so devastating, and I remember turning my wife out right after the movie. I'm like, babe, we could go through a fire, we can go through bankruptcy, we could lose everything, but the one thing we couldn't do is what?
Lose a child of our own.
Yeah, I just told her there's no way I could lose a child. I don't know how people do this. I don't know how you cope. And then 4 days later, we lose our baby girl. So obviously this is so fresh, and I'll be really honest, I've posted 2 things in my life on Facebook, and it's been this last week, and my wife was very hesitant of doing this, but at that moment I just didn't care. I didn't care because I was so vulnerable, I was so hurting, and all I knew is I just wanted my baby girl to live. This is the whole reason. I just wanted as many people as we could to fast and pray so we could take our baby girl home.
He looked at me and he said, Shannon, I need you just to find as many people as you can to fast. And I'm not a Facebooker either, and so I just commented on my Facebook, and I went on Instagram because that's kind of where I post my stuff. And then this is what is crazy. Many of you are coming from a certain page, and it is the Worldwide Fast. And just at that moment when I thought, where else do I reach tons of people? I had never seen the Worldwide Fast ever. And it just clicked up, and I saw there was like 250.
This is the first time they've had it, right?
Yeah, but it was already up, but I'd never seen it before. And there's like 250,000 people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna post here to reach as many people as I can and see what happens. And I honestly thought that maybe my message was just deleted or something. So I didn't even see messages coming in till after the whole entire incident. I didn't know what was going on at all. And so we're gonna start our story, and we're gonna kind of tell you guys what went on.
Yeah.
And we're going to be vulnerable with you because we feel like
we feel very special. I mean, we've never experienced this, but we've literally read over hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of messages of people. And when we were with our child dying, those messages were so inspiring. It was just like, I've talked to people in London, Australia, I've never met, that have lost a child, that reached out to me, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, it was humbling. Mm-hmm. And so we just feel like if you took enough time to get on your hands and knees and to pray for our little girl, for a time. We've had so many people reached out to us wondering what's going on, and we've had so many people call us, and we're like, we should just, instead of just tell the story over and over and over, and it's hard. It's hard to
like
tell a story over and over again.
You know?
We decided, let's just tell everyone, let's just be, let's just tell it how it happened. So we haven't script this. This is just kind of off the fly, and so, but if you have questions, let us know. But the main thing is we just want to say thank you, so
we feel so humbled. I mean, this whole coronavirus thing really did affect us staying in the hospital, and we'll talk about that later. But we had to be split up while our baby was dying, and that was really hard because we needed each other at that time, and we were just so vulnerable and not knowing what was the future of our little girl. And while we were holding her hand, we were literally hearing ding, 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 like it was dinging all the time, and there were messages coming from everyone. You guys, I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
You guys were the ones that inspired us to keep on going. And there's so many experiences I've lost a child too. Like, this is the faith you need to have, and it was so inspiring. So just thank you so much.
Friends I haven't talked to since like the 3rd grade, literally, like elementary school, junior high, college, and sports teams. I mean, it's really
families
touching.
From the ward. I mean, our family ward is amazing. My community, our families, our individual families have been great supports. But we're going to start out. So we had the most phenomenal day. It was on Tuesday morning, and we're like, let's just go out and have a great swimming pool day. That's our favorite place to be. Layla, she, if you guys ever met her, she is spunky, she is spice, she is the spice of life, okay? She is so much fun to be around, and she has this incredible little smile that lights up the room every time you see her, and she is like, I'm gonna be crazy, but it's like this. Like, it's just a full-on smile, and I love it.
You see all her teeth when she smiles. Like, dentist lover.
She's never been to the dentist.
That's why they love her.
Anyways, we were just like, let's have a great day. Josh went and got pizza, and the kids were making cotton candy out by our pool, and it was a great day. And our pool was a little warm. We have a hot tub, but it's not heated up, so it was just a little warm.
And it's an overflow hot tub. So if you ever have a pool that overflows, so it's almost at the same level as the pool itself. And so we were out there playing, and I had this impression to call my sister. And I just called my sister up to see how she was doing. And while I was talking to her, the kids were getting really, really loud. And so as I was on my phone, I decided to walk into the bathroom because as a father of 5, the only place that is quiet are bathrooms.
His favorite place.
You can lock the door. So I went in there to lock the door. And when I was sitting there, all of a sudden I hear Shannon come in because... And
before this, so I was out there, and Layla, she has the cutest little body, cutest little bum. And I say that only because we had taken off her diaper because it was getting really full. We didn't have any more pool diapers. And earlier she had been swimming by herself with her life jacket. So she had just barely learned how to swim with her life jacket without somebody holding her. And so she was loving it. She was floating around. She was kicking her feet. We have videos that we had taken before, like an hour before she died, just of her being so happy. And she was even jumping off the side of the pool with my hand and like jumping and just like kicking her. She was so happy. And I don't just say that. She had a happy day, okay? And so I take off her diaper, and she starts just like pooing all over like our deck area. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I grab Layla, I take off her life jacket, and I hurry and rush her in. And we only have one door that's open to our pool. We lock all, and there's tons of doors around our pool area. It's all glass area. We only have one door that's open the whole time, and you can see it very visually. So I ran in there, and I went to the bathroom, and he was on the bathroom. I'm like, you need to get off because she's so poopy. I need to get her off. So I placed her in the bathtub, which had no water. I just put her in there just so the poop wouldn't fall on the ground. And then Josh was like getting off, and he just kind of moved to the side. And then I put her on the toilet, and she was freaking out because she's never been on the toilet before. And I started wiping her butt, and then I cleaned it. And in my mind, I don't know exactly what happened, but I thought Josh was watching her because the kids were yelling at me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go outside and be with my other kids. And I thought Josh had her. Well, Josh thought I had her.
Well, I mean, I was on the phone, and she absolutely could have asked me to, but like I've told her, I'll play the guilt here. Sometimes when I'm on the phone, I just say a lot to her when she asks me things.
So I didn't know he was on an intense call, and we just thought we both had
I was just like, and I was just speaking to my sister, and I decided just to go upstairs so I could, because it was I couldn't hear her very well, so I walked upstairs into our bedroom, which is this room right here, and just to talk to my sister. And so while I went to this room, I went to the back room back there, because I had to go to my favorite spot again, because I always lock the room so kids can't come there. So I went and just sat on the toilet in our master bedroom, and then, that's where I was talking to my sister.
Yeah, and then I was outside and I was literally not in the water. I wasn't in the water at all. I was sitting actually, so I had a perfect view of the whole entire area, okay? I could see the door that would open. I could see my 2 kids. My kids were jumping and I was taking pictures of them. I could see the hot tub. I could see everything, okay? And I'm not, like when I say this, I saw everything. It was easy visual. And I was just sitting, not in the pool at all. And so we were just having fun, and I have so many things on video, and it's all the same area, which is so crazy. And then all of a sudden, Preston comes over, and he's like, and he just starts to walk over to the spa area, and he's like, Lace is at the bottom of the pool. Come on, Lace is at the bottom of the pool. And I was like, no, she's not. She's inside the house. And he's like, Lace is at the bottom of the pool. And so I run over there, and I see her just floating at, like in the middle of the pool area, and I just dive in, and I'm not even diving, I just run in and I just grab her, and she is lifeless. I'm saying lifeless. Like, I think she's dead in my arms. And so I am freaking out like crazy, like a crazy woman. And the kids all run upstairs and they're like, Dad, hurry. And Josh just...
And so all I heard was Layla's drowning in the pool. And I was going to the bathroom, and I don't know what happened right there, but I literally just ran from that spot. Ran down the stairs, and as I turned the corner, it's hard. I see my wife holding our lifeless child in her hands, and her head's tilted. Her arms are flinged to the side, and she's completely blue. There's no flesh color at all. She's purple and blue, and I'm just like, holy crap, she's dead. And so I run over there, and I grab her, and I start doing CPR on her. And I yell at the kids, call 911, go get doctors, because we live by doctors. And I started on my first compression. When I first pushed down her, all this water.
Hey guys, I don't know what happened. There was a glitch. So here we go again.
So Josh, you were compression and water.
Okay, compression and water, that's where we're going to go from. That's when we got cut out. The most intense part of the whole thing. Jeez.
So anyway, so I started giving her compressions, and I yell at everyone to go call 911, look for doctors. We have several doctors that live around us. And while she was on the phone, there's this 911 lady that was telling my wife not to go find a doctor. And she's like, stay with him. And I was actually getting really mad, because I'm like, stop listening to the lady on 911. Any of you have been like a coach for Little Leagues? I've taken those online classes. I've done CPR maybe once or twice. It is totally different than with a mannequin with a real child. And while I was doing it, the only thing I remember is they said, sometimes you have to do it hard if things are serious. You can't go light. And so when I was giving her CPR, I seriously thought I was breaking my daughter's chest, because I was going so hard, and I saw her belly expand, and then I'd push down, and all this throw up, like everything was coming out of her. It was just constantly. And I'm like, I couldn't believe how much water and food was coming out. And I just kept going over and over and over. And it probably took, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes for them to finally find someone.
This is a little tender mercy of what happened. So when I went over I was running around like a crazy person on this phone with this crazy 911 person. And then I was running to our neighbors, and I was like pounding on the door, just yelling my head off like a crazy person. And nobody answered, so I start running back, and little Derek, I find this out the day later after everything happened, but the neighbor said, Shannon, do you know why I came over? This is the doctor. She says, it's because Derek stayed there until I got there and said, Layla's drowning, we need your help. And she just rushed over as fast as she could, like as fast as she could. And so everyone saw, all the kids saw what was happening. And that's what's so crazy about the story, is they all saw it.
And our neighbor who came over, I will forever be indebted to her. I love her to death. She came over and did everything she could. And I honestly believe if it wasn't for her, we would have had these extra special days. But as she came over, then the paramedics came, and then ambulance came. And once they came, they finally were walking away. And it's crazy. I realized when I was down there, I stood up. I left the bathroom with nothing on. Like, I had nothing on. And I'm like, what is going on? And James like, Dad, you know, I'm like, I know I don't want to. So he grabs
Nobody even knew that.
I wasn't even thinking, and I had no idea. And so I grabbed this quickest like towel and shorts, and I was like there. And then the police start escorting us out. Like, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here. I'm like, what's going on? Can I get my phone? Like, and I'm like, Shannon, go hop in the ambulance. And they're like,
they would not let me. Like, I was like, my baby's in there. I was just freaking out because here we are thinking that she had a very faint pulse, but here we are thinking my baby's dead. And can I say one thing? The doctor that came over, she did everything. And I was so grateful that she came over because she was our tender care. Like, she came and saved us and saved Layla. She literally saved Layla. Got inside there and they would not let me in. And I was super mad. And Josh was just with the kids. And we were so vulnerable. They were like marking our whole entire thing like a murder scene. Well, there was tape everywhere.
They said it was a crime scene and that we had to get out. And I was flabbergasted. I had no idea. And so as they're escorting us out, they start taping off, and I can't get my phone. I can't get my keys.
So I had no communication with him at all while I went. So my friend grabs me and she's like, we're going. So like, because the ambulance were just like, stay calm, stay calm. I'm like, I'm not calm. What are you talking about? So I run with my friend. The ambulance takes off and they're just going as fast as they can. And we're going as fast as we can, just bawling our eyes out, not knowing what is going on with our little Layla baby. And
at this moment, I didn't have a shirt on, so I told a neighbor came over with a t-shirt, and I'm hugging and all our sweet neighbors. There's so many sweet neighbors. They just wanted to care, but all of them started coming and started giving them hugs and so forth. And I had so many who were like, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him. Just go, just go. But the police said, no, you cannot go. You have to do a statement. You have to wait for the lead detective, and you cannot go. And I was like, am I getting? I felt like right that moment that I'm like, am I accused here of something? And they asked me, they're like, who do you want for us to call? And I'm like, just call my friend. And I'm not going to mention his name to save him, but he works in the law enforcement. And I just said, call my buddy. I need him here. And so I told the neighbors, like, everyone just, I'm okay, leave. Just let me be with my kids. So I backed up and we just sat there. And
at this time, I was inside the place just waiting in a room, and they kept on asking what happened. I had to tell the story so many times. And the thing is, I didn't know when they asked me, well, what happened to the baby? And I was like, I do not know. I didn't see her at all. And I was right there. And so...
yeah, I find that so funny when people, they're like, what happened? Like, if we knew what happened, we wouldn't be here, right? Like, if we knew where the baby was, we wouldn't be here. So people ask us, like, how long was she under? We have no idea. We have no idea because we didn't know.
And so when I was there, I waited probably for an hour, and many of you know how it is if you're just waiting for your baby to see if I didn't even know if this baby, like if Layla had a pulse or she was breathing or anything. And so here I'm just thinking the worst because it's taking longer and longer, and it's just devastating. And then they finally let me go in, and I was like, she looks okay. Like, she has all these like different things on her. She has a ventilator on her, you know, they're sucking the things out of her, but she looked like she had flesh to her skin. And I was like, she's gonna be okay, she can make it through. And everyone's like, it's okay, you know, the baby's gonna be okay, we're gonna work as hard as we can. And then all of a sudden they're like, we have to life flight the baby out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what, are you kidding me? Are you serious? And I knew that was bad news because they said, and then they try to calm you down, and they're just like, we're going to get her the best care we can, and we just need to get her ready and everything like that. And this is what's crazy. I knew 3 doctors that were in there with me. I had my neighbor doctor, and then 2 guys that go to church. They were in there. And one guy even gave me his shoes because I was walking around with no shoes. I was like in my swimsuit. It was just crazy. And people were just outpouring of like hugging us and making us feel like...
And I just want to say they know who they are. I'm not going to mention names, but you guys, thank you so much. We love you. I mean, sometimes you don't realize that people that you know are your very worst moments. And thank you for those doctors, those members that came by and like just put their arms around me, because we were such in a dark place. I was so dark. I didn't know anything. I couldn't hear anything. They finally told me that they found a pulse, and I was just praying like crazy. And that's when I'm just like, Heavenly Father, I will give up my life. I will die for this girl. I will do anything. I will sacrifice anything I have. Just let her live. Let her live. And that's what I told Shannon. I'm like, Shannon, I don't care how you do it or what you do. I need as many people you can anywhere that will pray and fast for my little girl right now. And my poor wife, she, like me, personally, all I hear about Facebook is negative things. So I don't
you dare talk about Facebook negatively. Look at this. This is amazing. Look at these people.
So that's my opinion, right? And
now
so
you changed it, right?
So I just told her, I'm like, I don't care what people think or say, just post it. My wife was like, I don't want...
I was feeling very much like this is such an intimate thing. I don't want everyone to be involved in it, you know, before close people are involved with it. But it was amazing, the outpour. And so they're like, so we saw the baby and then they had to take her away. And I'm just like, can't I go on the helicopter? They're like, no, you can't because of weight issues and everything. And so they're like, meet us over at the St. John Hopkins. PICU.
It's a child. They specialize with pediatrics, children.
And it was an hour and a half away, and they say get there as soon as you can. So this is what makes me mad. I go home, and at this time, I actually called one of my really good friends in the neighborhood, and she knows who she is, and she's my angel, and also my other friend who he is an angel to us because they took our kids under their wings and just showered them with love during this devastating thing, and my kids just needed to be loved, and they felt loved. Anyways, I came home and they said, sorry, before you guys go, we have to walk through the house and we have to do an investigation. I'm like, are you kidding me? My baby is like literally dying. And they're like, it'll just take a few minutes. It took like 10 minutes. And I was just thinking, well, are you kidding me? It was super frustrating.
Fairness, my buddy who's in law enforcement, he said something that at that moment, obviously we were so scared that we weren't going to see our baby, but he pulled me aside and said, look, I know this is not ideally at this situation, but they have to rule you out as the prime suspect. He says, because whether you like to admit or not, sometimes these things happen, and sometimes the parents actually are the reason why. And I'm just like, what? And so he's like, just go through this process and just be open with them. And so I wrote down my statement, what happened, and so as we go through, we walk through every scene. And to that police officer, the investigator, under that circumstance, thank you so much. You were so cool. They did do a
pretty good job. Just at the time, you're like,
I mean, at the time, I was so frustrated because I felt like, am I being accused of like killing our daughter? Like, that's how I felt. But I understand now. They have to do that. They have to do that. So we went through every scene in the house, and we went to where we had the first conversation where it took place, and they even came up here to the bathroom. And my wife went to flush the toilet, and they wouldn't allow her to do that because they had to have evidence that I was on the toilet. And I'm like, that was like mind-boggling to me. So we were able to get some clothes and then walk out, and then they made us swear a statement, you know, like put our hands up, and, you know, Aaron's promise, what we told them was true.
And at this time, I just remember thinking, I don't remember anything. And then I remembered a week before we had got cameras outside working on our pool area. And I'm like, honestly, just watch the cameras and you'll know exactly what happened. And so they did. So
they pulled the surveillance off of the cameras, and they were able to find
oh, it was totally an accident. You're not accused of anything. This is later on after, you know.
Of course, but
at this time, we had somebody totally take us to the hospital.
And he knows who he is. Thank you so much.
That helped so much because we were not in the
mindset
realm, at all.
And as we went to the hospital, I mean, literally, I had so many people reach out for me saying, I will get down on my knees right now. I had people that said, I've never prayed before in my life, but I'll pray for your family. I had people that said, I've never fasted, but I'll fast right now for your daughter. And I was like so moved and touched that so many people were like willing to sacrifice part of their life just because we asked. I was overwhelmed. And like my wife said, like, I was so touched by so many people's comments, and it was overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. I can't even explain it.
And it was crazy how it got out so fast. You know, like it got out super fast. Everybody knew, and it was. You guys are amazing. That's all I have to say. So we finally got there, and it was really late.
We're like halfway done with the story, and I'm already exhausted.
Well, I think I'm at a numbing point right now too. But we get there, and then they, you know, because of the coronavirus, they're like, you can't come in here. You have to wait till you're called in. So we meet our friend there, and he just stayed with us for like an hour and a half outside, just waiting and waiting to see if our baby even had life. And they didn't even know what was going on with the baby. So we finally get up the stairs, and they take us upstairs, and you know, you just have this, I don't know, I can't even explain not knowing what it is when you walk into that room and your baby has everything hooked up all over, tubes everywhere, and you just don't even know what's going on.
Every wire on every part of her body.
Like, you know, it's just crazy. Go on.
Yeah. So when we get there, I mean, because this whole COVID-19 thing, they said we can't have you both here. I'm like, are you kidding me? And like they made us wait. We couldn't even wait in the lobby. We had to wait outside on the steps in the parking lot for an hour and a half to get in there. And why we got interviewed by child services. They asked me if I ever spank my kids, if I'm abusive. I mean, just these most craziest questions. And I was like, it was so overwhelming what was going on here. And I just couldn't believe all these questions. And I'm like, I love my kids. I love my kids. Like, and so I don't know why you guys are asking me all these questions, but I do now. But at that moment, that was so intense how we were getting investigated, why we didn't know if our daughter was still alive or not. And so after the is it called child services interviewed us? Was that what it is? We finally went upstairs, and as we saw her with all these cords on, I can't even describe it. Like, if any of you have ever had your child go to the hospital, you know, and your heart just sinks, but when you see someone so little, so small, so pure, I mean, I can't even, it was just, my heart broke in half, and I was dumbfounded, and I was at the mercy of anyone. I was just like, Heavenly Father, I am at my peak. I can't do this. You have to save her. You have to save her. Like, whatever you want me to do, I will do this now. And so I started making pleas to my Heavenly Father to save my girl. And that's the only thing that was going through my mind. Is like, I will do anything I can.
Yeah, this time though, Josh and I, we really believed. We were like, just have faith, you know, God's going to answer our prayers. We're going to be able to take Layla back. And I honestly, in my mind, envisioned myself like taking Layla home and taking care of her. But as the time went by, she started to get a little bit better. Like, she started to be able to breathe on her own instead of like out of a minute, there was 40 breaths and she was taking about 10 of them. And so we were like thinking positively, right? And we were just like, and everyone was like, just have faith, just have faith. And I really thought, I'm like, we're going to have a miracle. Layla's going to come home is what I thought the miracle was.
Totally.
And
I mean, and I
even my son was like, just have faith. If you have faith, don't even falter. You have to have faith. He was like,
our cute
James
little children,
is amazing.
We watched a movie like 3 or 4 days before. What was that called?
I never watched it.
There's this movie about where this child was under the water for 30 minutes and that they found him and brought him back to life, and he made a complete recovery. And there's a movie out there. I can't even think of it. What's that?
Oh.
I can't think of the name of the movie, but my boy kept saying, Dad, remember the movie? Remember the movie. The boy made it. The boy made it. And he was like, Dad, don't you dare cry. You gotta have faith, Dad. You gotta have faith. And I'm just like, yes, son. Yes, I will have faith. I was just so, I'm like, but at the back of my mind, I was like, I hope this doesn't destroy their little face, because I knew that she was in some deep trouble. And
well, it's bad when you have like 8 to 10 nurses, and literally we had the best nurses. And if you nurses are on here, all I have to say is we had, Josh calls it an angel battalion of women who were like just guarding our baby and trying to make this baby survive. She got into a medical induced coma because she was having little spasms, like her legs would go like
seizures.
that. Yeah,
she's having seizures.
Seizures. And every time you have a seizure, they were saying that it affects the brain. So like mental retardation can come from it. So they were trying to give her tons of medication to stop the seizures. And finally, after hours of it, they were finally able to get it down, but you could tell she was just out of it. Like, she had no life. Like, we could see her heart going up and down, but it was kind of like with the machine. And to hold her, we were singing to her, holding her, like just holding her hand and touching her skin and just taking in every single ounce that we could at that time, and just praying. Like, we were mourning, like praying to the point that I've never prayed before, for God just to come and just help us, you know? And so
we were just desperate. We were just desperate.
And Josh had to leave because it came to the point where, you know.
Well, before they left, they told us, they're like, you guys. Don't say what?
Just saying, it's public.
Oh.
Anyways. We just had miracles happen where we were able to stay for a little bit.
Oh, gotcha. So we got to the point where we had to leave. So I told my babe, I'm like, so do you want to stay or do you want to go? And she's like, I will stay. So I left the hospital. And how many hours?
I'm telling you guys, we were fasting. So all of you know how hard fasting is.
We
fasted for probably 38 hours the whole entire time. We said we are fasting until we take our baby home, is what we said. And we were so drained with emotion, so tired. and they said, "Oh, just have a nap. It's okay. Like you need to get rest."
You can't
and
sleep.
you close your eyes and you envision the whole entire thing all over again.
Yeah, you just see the images of your child there, that at the pool. I mean, we were having flashbacks of what was happening. I was worried about my children who saw that. I mean, I can't imagine how these little guys are coping, even right now.
And so Josh.
I left.
Yeah, Josh
I
left.
left to a friend's house that's close by. Thanks goodness.
Yeah,
he knows who he is and their family, and I love
that was
you
a
guys
blessing, and
with
we
all my heart.
get a little tender mercy from that as well. But so here I am by myself, and I'm reading your guys' post about holding my baby and just talking to her for hours and hours and hours. And then when the doctors came in, you could tell that something was wrong, and her oxygen levels supposed to be between a 90 to a 10.
Well, before that, a doctor came in and said, we see brain activity. So there was positive.
Like,
so that's where I sent my second post I've ever done. And that is that the doctor says, I don't think worst case scenario will happen now. And so we're way optimistic, because at that moment we're like, do you know what? Even if she comes home,
she'll have mental retardation.
had brain damage or so forth.
But we didn't care. We were like,
we'll take care of her.
It's okay.
And I thought to myself, I'll be one of those dads that'll have a special needs girl, and she'll sit by me to the day I die. I'll be 80 years old and have my 50-year-old daughter. And I was like, I will do that because I love her. I will take her everywhere, and I'll be proud of her wherever I go. I will show her off, and I'm like, that's our life, and that's okay. That was okay at that moment.
We honestly imagined ourselves doing that.
Yeah,
and
I was
totally
thinking that's our life, and do you know what? That was the miracle I was hoping for. I was like, I will take you any way you come, as long as you live. I will take you just as long as you live. And so
at this moment, I came to like the breaking point of like, in my heart, it was almost like I had all this faith that was my miracle and everything. And then when this started to happen, her levels started going down to a 50. It's supposed to be at a 90 for her oxygen levels, and they kept on trying different things, putting her on a new machine, pumping it by hand, and it just was not working. And I could tell just by how they were acting that something bad was happening. So I went into the bathroom and I was just bawling, like on the ground, literally bawling my eyes out more and pleading to God, just, God, help me, God, please, I need you. And I remember thinking to myself, an impression came, it was just like, Shannon, your will is not my will. And I almost could not do it. I was like, God, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I knew what his will was. And for a moment, I wasn't willing to do it. I said, I can't do that. Ask me to do anything else, but I will not give my baby up. And you know how it works. But I literally came to a point that I had to give my baby up. And I knew that God's will was to have Layla back in heaven. And that was the hardest thing, to release God back to heaven and say, whatever is thy will, I will do. But it's going to be freaking hard, and I'm not going to like this, and I'm going to be so sad, and I don't even know how I'm going to live or how I'm going to, like, my emotions were so high, and I was just struggling so bad. And I went back out there, and I looked at her, and I knew she was going to pass on. And then Josh came and,
and I came in, and
it was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning, I just came in, just held her hand. I was singing her. So there's two songs I sing to her all the time. It's I'm a Child of God and We Came from a Land. And so throughout this night, I'm personally going to write some letters to nurses, because those women in that hospital are amazing. I've never had more respect for RNs and in my life. And I even made a joke. I mean, in the whole time there, I saw like 2 males. And I'm like, the guys are kind of ruining it. Like, this army, a battalion of women are like the bomb. Like, that was the greatest force I've ever seen of women. I had so many women there fighting for my daughter's life. It was so tender. And as they sat there, they're talking to me, they put their arms around me. I just had so much compassion for these women that they see this all the time. I don't know how they do it. You have to be a special human being to be able to cope like that and to help. And I just have so much respect for the nurses and doctors and the medical staff in our country. And
amazing.
It was beyond amazing. It was inspiring.
Like, we look back and we just think, there's nothing more they could have done.
They did everything.
Every single person that was involved in this did everything they could. And Layla did everything she could. She fought the fight. She fought it hard. And we kept on saying, just fight it, baby. And she fought it. We could feel that she was fighting it as hard as she could. But there came that time. So Josh was with the baby. And just tell me about the time when you started singing.
Well, so as they were all getting there,
you called me first.
They had to go to a special machine because her oxygen level was dropping. So they had to get the biggest machine out there, and this machine would basically breathe for your child. But you have to give the individual a drug to relax all the muscles because you don't want their muscles competing against the machine. And this machine is so intense, your baby's chest goes like this. It's just up and down. It's super intense. I mean, and as they're doing on it, the doctor turns to me and says, "Look, we have her on the highest medication possible. We have her on the biggest machines that are allowing your baby to live. And she's not going to make it. You got to call your wife right now." And so I called my wife and I said, "Babe, you've got to get over here. There's not much time left." And so at this moment, I decided to sing a song to her. And so I started singing, "I'm a child of God," and I am a child of God. And I couldn't finish it because I started crying and bawling. And then the woman behind me starts finishing the song for me. And she says, "And he sent me here, has given me." And I turn around, I'm like, "Hey, how do you know that song? Like, how do you know that song?" And she's like, "I'm a member of your church in the Tampa ward." And I just hugged her and we sang, "I'm a child of God." And so another nurse started helping me sing, "I'm a child of God" to my baby as I knew she was about ready to die, as I'm holding her hand. And that's when my wife shows up.
So I ran upstairs and I knew it was tragic because they were like, "Just come through," and before you had to get all your information and go to get all these badges and stuff. So we ran upstairs with my dad and they let my dad in to give a blessing. And I just remember walking into the room and seeing my baby and all these doctors around, and I knew this was like the last stages, and my little girl gave me a tender mercy. I walked over to her and I held her hand, I kissed her cheek for the last time, and I put my head down on her chest, and I just told her how much I loved her and how proud I was for her just to fight so hard. And I told her that I'd do anything to return back to her. And I put my head on the chest and then I felt nothing. I said, "What just happened?" And the doctor said, "She just died." And I remember looking, just being like, my baby girl, it was so hard to see it, but at the same time, it was the craziest thing. I had peace, and that's the craziest thing, because people would think that I'm crazy, but there was this peace that her body was just a body, and that her spirit went to heaven, and that she was okay. And it was hard, right? But they allowed us to hold her for 8 hours. We just held her body. We just mourned over her. We cried over her. We just loved her body for the last time, took in every single detail of that body, you know?
I mean, it was so touching, but I think the biggest thing is like what I was saying, I just don't understand this, because I until you go through this, you can't understand how you can be so low but also have a comfort with you. Yeah. And I honestly know that is because of our Heavenly Father and because of those special prayers and fasts throughout the world. You guys, me and my wife, when we were alone in that hospital watching our daughter die, we literally were reading countless messages. And I'm not exaggerating. I told my wife, I will read everyone's message that ever posted me. If they took time to get on their hands and knees and pray for my little girl, I will take time to read them and say thank you in my heart. I just want to say thank you. I don't know if we could have gone through it if we didn't have that peace. And our Heavenly Father, He was in our midst. I know He was. I felt like comfort, and I knew my daughter was in a better place, and I knew we were going to see her again.
There's not even a question. I used to say, I know that we'll be together forever.
Yeah.
Families are going to be together forever, but this, I was like, we have to be together forever. And we even told our kids, this makes it so real. We have to be together forever. We have to be with Layla again. You know,
and sometimes you go through your life and you go through motions. You know, I don't know if you ever like me, but sometimes you just get in habits, right? you just wake up, you week in, week out, you do the same thing. But I told my wife, this is when like the crap hits the fan. Like, are we gonna have faith? I mean, our whole life, we tell ourselves, like, let's have faith. Let's try to do. Are we gonna have faith? Or are we gonna crumble? And right then and there, I made a promise to my little girl, and I told her, I said, baby, Layla, I will never use your life as an excuse. I'm not gonna turn to drugs. I'm not gonna turn to alcohol. I'm not gonna turn to abuse. I'm not gonna turn to rage. I'm not gonna turn to anger. And because one day I know I'll see you, and if one day you come up to me and says, Daddy, you used your life as an excuse, I know how disappointing that would be. So I told her I will make myself a better person, so the next time you see me, you'll like, Daddy, you're a better daddy. And that is honestly what I came to. And so there was a few things, I'm not going to mention them, but there's a couple things I've had disagreements with individuals in my past that I decided to clear up right then and there. And I would have never, ever done that if it wasn't for my darling little Layla. And so even in her final hours, she inspired me to do things that I was too prideful or stubborn to do. And I'm just so thankful that I have a little girl, even after death, that inspired me to be better, because I have to. I have no choice. And so me and my wife made some promises to each other. That
one big promise is not to blame. And
yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know, but I had a sister, and my closest sister who I just adore. She went through this exact same thing 3 years ago. She was in a car accident and
leaving from our house.
Well, she was in South Dakota.
Well, they were getting back home from our house from a family trip. Yeah.
And she was in a car accident, and 3 of them were life flighted. Her son, and her daughter, and her 13-year-old daughter died, sudden, brain injury. And so she went through this 3 years ago, and the mourning was crazy. But this is the thing. She is our example. Her and her husband, their family, they took it and changed the world.
They inspired
literally.
People instead of using this as a time to get angry at God or the world. They inspired. And babe, if it wasn't for them, I don't think we could have done this.
I don't know. Like I look at Stacy, and I'm just like, her name's Stacy Neary. She's my sister and my best friend, and I honestly look at her and think, how are you so strong? And during those low points, I called her and I was like, I can't be strong with you. How the heck are you being strong? How are you doing this? She's the girl I go to at my low points, because I know she's felt exactly what I felt. And she is my inspiration, and she's the one that I'm like, what would Stacy do? I mean, we have to be here for our kids. If we fall, our kids will fall, and that's not what we want. We want our kids to be able to, go through this and be able to talk about it. And
I mean, we've talked about this. I'm like, if we don't pull our stuff together, I mean, we're not going to lose one child. We're going to lose 5, and like our kids are going to count on us. And I told myself, if anything I can teach my kids, if this is our cross that we have to bear in this life, our Gethsemane or whatever you want to call it, the hardest we have to go through, if we go through this with faith, that I can hopefully one day look at my children and say, I did this. Now you can do yours. Because all we ever want to do is be good parents. We just want to be good examples. I mean, my wife teases me all the time. My attributions, all I ever want to do is be a good dad. That is like it.
He's the best dad.
I just want to get out of debt. I want to have a job that we're financially set, and I just want to spend time with my kids. And my wife's like, why don't you want more and more? I'm like, and she's like kidding me, saying stop. But it's true. Like all I want is just to be a good dad. That's my life goal. And when it's all said and done, that's all I ever wanted. And so anyway, what were you trying to get to me? You're kicking me under the table
I'm a
for
nice
what?
Person.
What's that?
Nothing.
So anyway, what were you saying?
Nothing.
You totally threw me off my chain of thought. What? I don't know where I left off there. So
anyways, we have honestly just been overjoyed. Well, how about humbled at everyone and how kind you guys are. Like, even just people that are watching, I'm seeing people I haven't seen for like years, even when I was in elementary, and just the encouragement that you guys give us. And we're not going to say that we're perfect at this. We have our low points where we don't even know what to do, but we still know it's God's will. But it can still be hard when it's God's will. And I know there's so much hurt out there, and pain and suffering that nobody knows about that you're going through. But you guys, there's this one thing. you have to be close to God. If you're not close to God, I don't know how anyone does it. Because God is like the one that's helping me through this. Even at times where I may not feel him super close, I'm trying to feel him, and I'm trying to get close to him even more because I want to be close to Layla. And I know Layla's watching us. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. She's up there probably saying, you guys need to get here because this place is way better down there. And I know she's happy. Like, we went, these last 2 days have been really emotional too, because we have been...
As you can probably tell, we haven't slept in like, I mean, we got like an hour last night, 2 hours before. We haven't slept in days.
But we've just been doing the whole morgue thing with our baby, you know, and seeing her and dressing her and burying our baby. And no one ever thinks that you ever have to bury a baby. You guys, go home and like love your babies. Kiss every part of them. Like, we have a baby now in the home, my sister's baby, and I'm just like, they're so tangible. They're so dang cute. Like, I love little babies, and I just nibble them all the time. And I miss Layla so much. This is the one thing though. When we left the hospital, they're like, "Well, just leave her on the table, and you guys can go when you want." I'm telling you right now, that was the hardest thing I had to do, because they're just like saying, "Okay, say your goodbyes."
Well, we'll back up, because I think this is a big part of what we're missing out on. So anyone who's lost children before. I'm telling you right now, there is a low you can't explain, and then there's another side that no one ever talks about, and that is the no feeling.
Numbing.
You have a numbing effect, and I did not understand this approach. I don't know how you can feel so sad and then almost like just like nonchalant, like whatever, and that's how I felt. I remember one time I was like bawling. All of a sudden, I just like, "Okay, let's move on. Let's get out of here. We have 4 other children. Let's go home." And I'm thinking, I am the worst father in the world. What is wrong with me? How can I just like be nonchalant? And I just had no feeling. And me and my wife didn't really talk about this until this psychiatrist came in, right?
Yeah.
And the psychiatrist came in. She was awesome. And she sat down there and she's like, "How are you guys feeling?" And I told her I was feeling, and she asked you, Shannon.
And it's true. You get to this point of no feeling, and you almost feel wicked. You feel like, you're not a good person, you know. But it's Satan too trying to get in there as well. But she explained it perfectly, to the point that we're able to be home and be like, okay, it's okay that we're not feeling the mourning every single minute of our lives, or when somebody tells us a story and we're not mourning over it.
What she said though is when you go through these tragic events, she said you guys are going through, and she recommended that we get some type of special therapy, and especially for our kids and us, because we saw this tragic death, just like in the military, post-traumatic event. And so she said, there's a drug in your body that's literally released, and it prevents you from going so low that, you know, that it kind of allows your body
cortisol
to get your your blood levels and your blood sugars back to normal. And she says, and when that drug's released, you just turn numb, and you just don't have feelings. And she says, you have to understand this is totally normal. And for some reason, when she said that took like the biggest burden off me. And I realized, man, I'm not a bad guy. I know it's a drug. You know, it's just like when you have any type of hormones in you, like something drives you. I realize. So I always tell my wife, babe, we're gonna have highs and then we're gonna feel numb. We know it's a roller coaster. But that information was so powerful to me, because I didn't understand it. And then we started talking with people that have lost children that have contacted us. And our own sister and brother-in-law told us that, there's this numbing effect that you just, it's like your body's trying to preserve yourself from going to a place that you just can't bear. And that knowledge allowed me to have so much peace. And it honestly made me think about kind of the gospel, and about like sometimes in life people are hurting so bad, and the gospel doesn't take the pain away from you. But what it allows you to do is allows you to put your pain towards someone that can mend your heart. The hurt's still there, but the mending can happen. And I know our Heavenly Father, that's exactly what this is. And I just thought to myself, what if I didn't have that information? What if I just allow myself to have all these thoughts that I'm so evil for feeling this numbing effect? And I just thought to myself, that is exactly why people need the gospel of Jesus Christ. They need to know the right way to return home so you can be mended. Because some people turn to whether sports, drugs, alcohol, gambling to fill that void, but it's never filled. But what we've experienced through our experience is when you turn yourself to our Heavenly Father, there is a peace that comes. There is a softening, and there's no other way to describe it. And I wish we wouldn't have to experience this to come to this realization, but it is what it is. That was such a blessing. So all those who have lost a child or have seen something so dramatic you can't process, it's okay. It's okay to mourn the way you gotta mourn.
It's good to mourn.
And it's okay.
It's good to cry.
And it's okay to feel numb. I mean, there is no roadmap on how to overcome this. No one ever, we never took a class on this. And it's okay to go at your own pace. But just know that there is a peace that can come if you put your faith in your Heavenly Father. And I can only say this because we experienced it. So, you have something to add to that, babe?
Well, I just think, I think the hardest thing for Josh and I is, the mornings you wake up, you think it's all a bad dream, and you basically want to pinch yourself and think, Layla's going to come right through that door, and get up into bed and be right next to me, and she's not. And that's almost where it has to start all over again. You have to just give yourself to God again. And that's why I don't know how people do it without God. Josh and I were like, this is not going to tear us apart. There's too many families who they go against each other and start doing the blame game. We promised each other we will never go there.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't. That's will destroy you. It'll destroy your kids. It'll destroy so many things, and it's hard not to go there.
And nothing good happens through blame. I mean, like it solves nothing.
I truly believe, I did not see her, and I've heard people say, well, maybe you're blinded, maybe something happened, but maybe some people don't believe that. But there's some things happening in our life right now. We are seeing something different than we ever imagined or really believed. It's making us try our own faith because we want to be close to Layla. So I just want to say thank you to those people who reached out with very, very intimate experiences that they've had, even with Layla, and how she's spreading joy throughout the world and touching people. People say, oh, you guys are so inspirational. Do you know who's inspirational? My little girl, and she is changing the world. And you are here to support us. You are here to build us, and I hope that we can all do this together. So
we're just average people that love their daughter.
Yes.
We're just average people.
Amazing at all. Oh gosh.
All I say that we're great at is we love our kids, and even though we struggle even with that because we're not perfect parents, but we love our kids, and that's all we have. So that's kind of our story. Obviously, there's more to it, but. I appreciate it. Now I mean, I don't even know how you do
I do
this.
want you to know this though, if we haven't responded to you, I want you to know that we're still reading your things. I still have thousands of messages to read, and I take it one day at a time. If I'm able to have a spare moment. Right now there's so much going on to plan a burial, to pick your tomb and do all these things. So I want you to know we are not ignoring your comments. We see them, and we will see them in the future. And you guys, if you are inspired to do something, or just go with your inspiration of what you're feeling. If you want to reach out to someone, people have changed my ideas of what I'm thinking. So do it to other people, not just us.
There's so many
other people that are hurting and just need you,
We've talked about this, and the only time that you kind of get over the pain is when you focus not on yourself. And there were some individuals I reached out to that I found out that they lost their dad. And during that time, I called him and I just talked to him about losing his father. And I didn't feel the pain anymore. And service really does mend, even when you're hurting. If you could look outside your own pain and know that other people are suffering.
This guy's amazing at it. Sometimes I'm are you kidding right now?
I'm amazing.
I'm mourning right now, and he's like, "Let's go say thank you. Let's go do this." I'm like, "Are you kidding right now?" He is amazing.
No,
he's more amazing.
I paid her $5 before this video. If I paid her $20, who knows what she would have said.
Just
but
saying.
No, but it's true. It's true though. If you look to serve other people, your burden's lightened. And I know that to be true. But we have a funeral service because of this whole COVID-19. A ton of our family can't be there. They're telling us
just we can't see numbers, it's very limited.
Very limited people can attend to this funeral, and so we feel so heartbroken. But they have allowed us to broadcast it live, and that will be this Friday at 11 o'clock. And I just want to say, everyone who prayed for my daughter, who's
watching this, who is involved in the whole thing,
who's donated money for our GoFundMe. I mean, when we got this, we had no idea. Like, we had no idea how much our insurance was going to cover for this. And I just got off with her, and the life flight, all this stuff, all these bills are coming in, and I'm just like, people, I don't know what's going to happen here. I hope and pray that this is taken us under, and for some person came together to GoFundMe.
My sister and my brother, thank you so much.
I mean, at this time, I can't even express how thankful we're. I didn't even know the words to say.
And people that don't even know us, like, we're seeing these people and they're like, we don't even know you, and you guys are donating, like, who does that? And this is during COVID-19. Like,
I know, there's so many people they're out there without jobs. I'm just like so people. Inspired.
Wow.
So inspired. You guys so inspiring. Thank you for taking time, and
thanks for serving me. There's people who like serve us through, you know, physical things, through food, through just what we need at that moment, through words, through, you know, donations, through just doing something for my kids and making them feel special. It's just these little things that you do that's different than what other people do that make it a little bit easier and allowing us to take one step in front of each other. So thank you guys so much. I wish I could personally hug each one of you and just cry together. Love you guys.
And so our final thing is, I just have a saying that came to me, and it's just like, and it's love like Layla. And my father, as you guys, a lot of my friends know, he died when I was a young man, when I was 17, on me and my twin brother's birthday. And I remember my father always had this talk, and it was called the Bluebird of Happiness, and it was about expressing love. And I just told my Layla, whenever I tell your story, I'm gonna leave a challenge, because so many people say, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And so all of you that are here, there is one thing you can do for us. And I want you to, all you husbands that are out there, I want you to go to your wife, and I want you to ask for your forgiveness. Because as a guy, you do dumb stuff all the time. We don't even know dumb stuff until like a weeks later. And I'm like, I did not know I was so dumb. But apologize. Just apologize to your wife. Hug her and tell her you love her. And then go grab your little ones. And if you don't have little ones, grab your brothers and sisters or your friends.
Grab your
dog. And just hug them and tell them how much you love them. Because you never know when your last day on earth with this individual might be. You guys, we never ever thought we'd never see our daughter again. But now we know that we've got to live our lives and just express love to everybody. And we know we'll see her again. But in this mortal life, I want my little girl to know how much her daddy loves her. And I want my kids to know that I love every one of you little guys. And right now, I know you guys probably feel like there's so much going on with mommy and daddy. And my little guys are always like, Dad, come on, why don't you wrestle? Let's wrestle. We will wrestle. We will wrestle. We'll get back to this. But no, my little ones, I love you all with all my heart. So please, make a promise to me right now, thumbs up or something, that everyone who's watching, promise me that you'll go and ask for forgiveness to the one you love the most, and then tell the people in your life you love them. So if all of you could promise me that, then I will tell you, and me and my wife, that we will make this. We will strive to live our lives to make this world a better place. And I give you a promise that we will do the best we can, and we won't turn to anything that won't promote goodness. And so if I make this promise to you, make my promise to me that you guys will go home right now. So I appreciate all the comments. I mean,
this thing's going crazy. You guys are amazing. Look at all these people committed. Oh my gosh, guys.
I don't even know what to say. So I don't know. So I'm kind of done. I don't know what to say. Is there any questions you have? Any questions or comments? I mean, maybe some other time, but reach out to me.
You guys, this is the thing. So please come to our funeral virtually, because that's what we do now. This is COVID-19 thing. We just never know what we're going to do. Come to our funeral. Get on here. We'll have it broadcasted through my live feed and Josh's live feed. We will make it public so anyone can come and watch it.
Friday at 11.
We're doing this though just to say thank you. This is the least things we can do. It'll probably be 45 to an hour long, minutes to an hour long. But we just want you to see and be there with us. Even if it doesn't mean you can be there visually, you can be there, through social media. So thank you guys. Thanks for all these comments. I'm like overwhelmed. I just don't even know what to say. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, we literally had over like 400 people at one moment. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Yeah. And another thing also, I have so many friends that say they don't want to bug us. You guys reach out to us. Even though that we may not respond right now. Well,
it's going to be later when we
her
need
sister
it.
said something. Yeah. Write a calendar like 3 months from now. Because right now, so many people are reaching out to us.
And
but
it's
we
beautiful,
know
but
it is beautiful. And
we have all the support we need right now.
3 and 4 months from now, we know that there's going to be so many, that we're going to be low. So
she basically said, if people are asking what they can do, just tell them to basically call you in or call, text,
put in your calendar to call us in 3 or 4 months to check on us.
Because that's usually when, that hurt comes and stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys, we're here for you too. Like if you guys need some help or if you guys are just dealing with something, let's get together and let's pray for each other,
And if you have someone that's lost someone that it's having a hard time coping, I honestly, I was
going through this.
It's going through this. And if there's any way we can help, we will, because we love you guys.
To you guys. Thank
We're indebted.
you.
So anyway, so that's it. So bye-bye.
Thanks,
Appreciate
you guys.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the love. We feel it so deeply. Thank you for making this just a little bit easier. And Layla, she is proud of all of you. Layla's so proud of you guys. So thank you. Love like Layla.
Love like Layla. That's right. Well, there's all these.
Love you guys. Bye. Are we going?
Wow.
Bye, guys.
There's so many more comments. So if you shut it off, do you not get to read the comments anymore?
No, you get to.
Oh, you do? Okay. See, I didn't even know how this thing works.
We are just learning, right?
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Love you. Sleep well. Go hug your babies. Bye.